We are sitting at our new location for season 3. I about gave you a 2 symbol, but season 3.
It's moving day.
Like most trips, it's not going according to plan.
Today is Thursday. Ryan just went off to work. I don't have to work until 11 o'clock today. The Subaru's in getting an oil change, getting ready to hit the road, and I thought I would use this morning to pack up as much of the RV as possible. So right now our plan is to leave town tomorrow on Friday as soon as we get off work and head to our new assignment. We have a whole 9 days to get there, so we don't really have to rush our travels, but we're hoping to stop by home on our way. So we would really like to hit the road, get started, and get to see family for as much as possible. It's crazy how much you accumulate and get used to things once you've been sitting in one spot for 6 months. But thankfully, I think we learned a lot from our time in Montana, and we kind of tightened our systems down a little bit. I feel like we don't have as much outside of the RV to move and take care of like we did in Montana. So really it's just securing everything inside of the RV that could fall off the walls or break, fall out of cabinets. And that really doesn't take too long. But I'm going to start it today, and then when Ryan gets home tonight, he's going to winterize the RV, if that gives you any hints onto where we might be headed.
Okay, everyone. Today is the last day. Megan has a few more patients to see here in Arizona, and then we are both done with our Arizona contracts. It's crazy to think that we've been here for 6 months. Doesn't feel like that, but as we look back at all of our memories and just seeing all the places we've gotten to go, Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, we've seen more national parks in these last 6 months than our whole lives. And it's been an amazing time here. But now, as always in travel therapy, your contract ends and then you have to head off to the next one. And so that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to go ahead and get more of the RV in ride mode, and pack up the outside and make sure we drain our tanks and all that good stuff before we head out. The voyages to our next contract are always a little nerve-wracking just because we have a very old motorhome. And then Megan also pulls our other little commuter car with our adventure Subaru. Like most trips, it's not going according to plan. So that tire that I just took the tire cover off of, it has a big gash in it, some big dry rot. And so I just took the jack out of our Subaru, jacked up the trailer, and just put that new spare on. And I'm not gonna lie, I do not feel good about the spare or the other tire. I probably should have had these changed months ago, but I did not have the forethought, and now today's the day we're trying to leave, and I'm thinking, we need 2 new tires on that tow dolly before we tow our car. So I'm about to hook up the tow dolly onto our Subaru and take it over to Tire Mart. Hopefully they can do a quick job and get us 2 new tires so we feel a little better about it. But I always think we're gonna leave and it's gonna be nice and quick. It never is. And I still got a lot to do on the RV, but I've been messing with this tow dolly. So Megan's on her way back, and she can then help out a little bit. But let's head to Tire Mart. Wow, those guys were like a NASCAR pit crew. I got in and out. I have 3 brand new tires, 2 on the tow dolly, and then 1 spare. So big thanks to Tire Mart there. Got me in and out. I mean, I pulled into the bay as soon as I got there. And so really awesome. I feel a whole lot better towing our car with the tow dolly now that we have some good tires. And so now back to work, trying to get Big Betty all set up so we can roll out today.
We are about to head out. Got everything set up.
In ride mode.
We're
gonna do a quick look around, go grab some propane, maybe air up some tires, and then hit the road.
Yes, wish us luck.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
We stayed in a Cracker Barrel last night on our way to our next contract, And now we're gonna hit the road again, so we're getting Big Betty all set up. Had a little breakfast here. It's so great to be able to sleep in our own bed when we travel.
Yeah.
And right now it's currently snowing outside. Again.
In New Mexico. So I think we're just taking it with us. It's definitely, the storm is following us because we're going east. So
We'll just take it nice and slow.
So we have found a spot in Texas for the night. We made it into Texas, drove all the way across New Mexico, and got stopped by a large storm system, which was really pretty to see on the drive because we haven't seen a storm system for 6 months. So I liked seeing it.
The inside of our fender on our wheel well rusted off. It was flapping around, so Megan let me know. Thankfully, we carry tools with us in the RV. I was able to kind of break off the last little weld that was hanging on so it wasn't slapping our tires or our car. This tow dolly's sure giving us a ride for this road trip, but it's off now. We just rolled into Joplin, Missouri, so southwest Missouri.
Yeah.
Feels weird being back in Missouri, our home state.
Feels great. Big Betty hasn't been home for a year, and the Sub has never been introduced to the fam.
That's true. So the Adventure Sub has never been in Missouri, ever.
4 hours left. We're actually going to be getting home earlier than we thought we would. We were thinking we would be rolling in on Monday, which is tomorrow, super late, or even on Tuesday. So hopefully we can get up and at 'em in the morning early and we can make that trek there. Like I said, Ryan's dad is off work on Monday and your mom's off work on Tuesday.
Yeah, it worked out
Which it
perfect.
just worked out that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get to spend Monday and Tuesday with them. And then we'll spend Wednesday and Thursday with my family in the evenings when they're not working. And
then head off to our new travel contract, which we're really excited to start season 3. Mm-hmm. It's going to be different.
Yeah. Different for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Since we're in town, there's like 10 billion errands we're trying to run. And so we have one car in the shop. We're taking the Subaru to the shop for typical stuff, oil change, tires, to a place, an auto shop that we trust, and to get all that stuff done. Another thing is, while we're in our tax home, and this is for you travel therapists out there trying to get our days, you have to have 30 days in your tax home per year. And so we can count some of these days towards it. And so getting a receipt from like the gas station showing like the first day we got here, and then make sure we get a receipt the last day to count towards those 30 days. And so making sure that we get that in order. And then we just re-upped our room rent agreement with my parents because we rent a room from them. And so making sure we re-sign that lease every year. And this is usually in March when we do it.
Yeah. We're getting a lot done.
Yeah, when you live full-time in an RV and you're traveling around, when you come back to your home, you got to get a lot done. I think even Megan has a dentist appointment today, so
yep.
All kinds of stuff going on. Even though we're at our new location, we're not going to disclose that to you just yet because we want to take a little time to review season 2 when we were in Arizona.
We were in Arizona for a total of 6 months from September to, what month is it? March. And we were in Arizona through the heart of the winter, which turned out to be the best time to go and explore.
Yeah, it was a great launching pad for us. The actual location that we had our contracts in wasn't like too desirable, but it was like the perfect place to go to a bunch of other cool places like national parks, some different cities like Sedona, Flagstaff.
Multiple states. We were right there where Nevada, California, Utah, Arizona were all in our region.
Yeah, kind of all meet.
Yes. So it was a blast. We ended up going to 10 national parks in 6 months.
I know, we were surprised too.
We were so surprised when we ended up counting up all of our travels and realizing, wow, we saw 10 amazing national parks, ones that are on everyone's bucket list. So today we want to share with you a few tips that we learned from our travels so that if you're planning to come to the Arizona area, you can have a good trip too.
So out of the national parks that we went to, I think the big 3 that we really enjoy and you have to make the trip is Zion National Park,
Yes.
Yosemite, and then Sequoia National Park.
Those definitely made a huge impression on us. We can't forget them. We would have hated to have missed it looking back on that experience. So if you're in the area, just from our experience, that's what we would prioritize.
Going to Zion National Park with the red rocks and then doing that Angel's Landing hike was just so great. And we got a lot of great pictures and video from that. And then we went ahead and drove the 8 hours, which seems like a very far ways away, which it was.
It was.
Up to Yosemite and to be there on the valley floor. And since we were there in winter, some things were closed, but it was still amazing to see. And then we went over through the sequoias while we were up there in California. And one of my favorite parts was going to the General Sherman, which was the biggest tree in the world.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing. It was hard to even understand the magnitude of how large that tree was. What stuck with me from that park was just how peaceful it was. It was in the dead of winter. There weren't very many people there, but I've heard from others who visit in high season too, that they just think that park is peaceful. And there's just something about the magnitude of those trees and being right there in the middle of them. So you got to give it a visit.
With going to all these different national parks and scenic areas, we did a lot of camping in season 2. Thankfully, we have our rooftop tent on our Adventure Subaru, and so it really helped on lodging for the weekend, so we weren't paying so much. And where we find places to camp for free is on freecampsites.net. And it's a little clunky, it's a website, but they have some really great places and shows you the BLM land out there. Where you can do some of your free dispersed camping.
If you are planning a trip to some national parks and you want to know the most up-to-date information about the weather, what roads are open, what roads are closed, and if you want to camp in the national park, you want to go to recreation.gov. Recreation.gov has everything up to date. It will tell you everything about the park you need to know. That's what we used. And we even found some last minute reservations at national park campgrounds, which was a treat for us. You do have to pay. You don't generally have to pay very much. And we were able to get some last minute campsites, which is pretty rare. You usually need to plan that out. But that was amazing. We ended up staying in Zion National Park, and waking up to the red rocks was just so memorable.
Very memorable. If you're near Las Vegas or some of the local areas around there, Lake Havasu, Bullhead City, Kingman area, then some of our favorite places to go was like the Gold Strike hike just outside of Las Vegas. This is ones where we climbed down these huge boulders and into this canyon until we got to a hot springs at the end. Got to kind of play around in that.
That was awesome.
It was probably the most challenging hike we've been on, but also one of the most rewarding too. Another thing near Las Vegas would be the Valley of Fire State Park, and we got to go there with Megan's family as they came out and visited for Thanksgiving. The colors there were just something like I've never seen before.
driving up into the Valley of Fire. You're just in the middle of the desert. You don't expect to see anything, and then you crest this hill and you see all the colors. And there are some great hikes there. They're short, but you get to see a lot. You get to see slot canyons. You get to see honeycombs. That's what they're called. Beehives. So really interesting things to see there, packed in a small amount of space and a small amount of time. You could probably do it in 3 hours if you wanted to do multiple hikes that day and see a lot.
We also got to go visit Red Rock Canyon and do an activity that we had never done before, and that was outdoor rock climbing.
Woohoo!
So our friends Evan and Leah had some rock climbing gear and convinced us to scale these rock walls, and so we went there, and I think being in Red Rock really kind of gets you into the rock climbing mood, because there was tons of people there rock climbing. It was just beautiful. Once you got way up that wall, you could turn around and just look over the Red Rock Canyon Valley, and that really kind of sparked a new hobby in our hearts. Not only did we get to rock climb in Red Rock Canyon near Las Vegas, but we also went out to Joshua Tree National Park and did some rock climbing there. The last few things that you can do that we didn't quite get to do was either go out on Lake Havasu, or right there, really Lake Havasu is just the Colorado River, and you can rent jet skis or boats and take those up the Colorado River and around on Lake Havasu.
Yes, so the river is swimming with jet skis in the summer and even outside of the normal summer season for the rest of the U.S. That is the activity to do. So if you can get out on the water with a kayak and take it up to Hoover Dam, or on a jet ski and just go up and down the river, that would be a blast. There's also no speed limit on the river, so there are quite a few amazing speedboats to boat watch. We really saw 10 national parks, but we really only experienced things in 9 of them. So we're going to review all 9 national parks that we visited and just give you a quick recommendation for the top things to see if you happen to be going through the area or stopping at that national park.
So the first one is Joshua Tree National Park, and what we enjoyed the most was going to Indian Cove, which is a small part of the park, and doing rock climbing there. It was just really pretty, and if we could have got a campsite there, that would have been such a great weekend.
Yes, it looks like the coolest hangout spot for families or for rock climbers or for both. So I would definitely try to get a campsite there and spend some time hanging out. Literally on the rocks. Next is Death Valley. When you go here, there is tons of park to see. It's hard to see it all, but we would definitely suggest going to Badwater Salt Flats. The salt flats are unique and unlike any other thing you would see, so you have to check those out. And you have to check out Dante's Point at sunset or at sunrise to see the valley floor and the tallest mountain peak in the continental US right next to each other. It's a beautiful scene.
The next one is Yosemite, and when you go into the park, we entered in through the south, I believe, and you'll end up going through this tunnel, and there's a little pull-off where everyone goes. There's a parking lot. They park so they can see the Yosemite Valley floor. It's really beautiful. You see Half Dome in the distance, but it was really crowded, and so one of the tips that we got from our Just Ahead app was to go across from the parking lot, and there's a little bitty hiking trail. Go up the hiking trail just a little ways. You don't have to go far on it, but it gets you at a little bit higher elevation in a little bit more secluded area, and you still get those breathtaking views.
You also need to check out Yosemite Falls in the summer or in the fall or in the spring. In the winter, it won't be running, but I can imagine it is magnificent. So that is definitely something that you have to check out if you're in Yosemite.
Sequoia National Park, we touched on this a little bit, but our number one thing that you'd have to see there is, of course, the General Sherman, which is the largest tree in the world. It's just something you have to go and see in person to get the grand scale of it.
And this park is a great park just to take a drive through. The drive is peaceful and scenic, and if all you do is drive through, I mean, you'll be blown away. Bryce Canyon was a wonderful park. We saw it in a snowstorm, which was mind-blowing to see that.
Unique.
Yeah, very unique. If you go to this park, it's a smaller park, so you can kind of get through it and see it more quickly. If you go, you have to see the hoodoos. That is what this park is known for. I'm pretty sure you can't avoid them.
The trail to go on is the Queens Trail onto I think it's the Navajo Trail. It kind of connects and does a loop. It's their most popular hike. If you ask any park ranger, they're going to send you that way. But it's most popular for a reason. You get to go down through the hoodoos and then come back up. Really great. If you're not into hiking too much, or you need something with more like wheelchair access, then go to the Sunrise to Sunset Point. And it's a nice paved trail that goes right along kind of the canyon edge before it stair steps down, and you can view the hoodoos from there.
Zion National Park was probably my favorite, or a close tie with Yosemite. You have to do Angel's Landing. I know it's terrifying. I know it's high. I know it makes you reflect on your life decisions, but it's so worth it. You can even do the beginning part of Angel's Landing and get some amazing views without even getting to the scary part where it's narrow and where you have to hang on to chains. So I would even suggest, if you're scared of heights or you don't want to take that risk, do the beginning part, because that part it's still a challenging hike, not so scary balance wise and height wise.
And that part of the trail is paved all the way up.
Yeah.
And so go all the way up the paved parts and you'll still get really great views before you hit the chains.
Yes. And then the Narrows is at Zion National Park, and we didn't get to do this. We decided to go to Zion National Park literally the day before, but you definitely should do this hike. This is a hike that follows the river down into the narrows of a canyon. You gotta rent waders and waterproof boots and socks and stuff like that, but it looks so worth it, because who else gets to hike through a canyon slot of one of the prettiest national parks in the country?
The next park is Petrified Forest National Park. We didn't have too high of expectations for this national park, to be honest. But once we got there and we got our Just Ahead app on and narrating kind of the history and about these petrified logs, it was really fascinating.
The app really helped us appreciate what we were seeing and marvel at how the petrified rocks were made out of these trees, and it became a very interesting tour of geology. And we ended up going on this hike. You come down into
kind of like a Badlands looking landscape, and
it was purple.
Yeah, a lot of different colors in the rock, but purple was the one that really stands out as just an abnormal rock color.
Yeah.
And then throughout there you have the petrified logs, and so you can touch those, you can look at those, you can take pictures with them.
You can feel how heavy they are.
It was really interactive, and that was a paved trail also.
Next is Saguaro National Park.
Well, the Saguaro National Park is best known for its saguaro cactuses.
Look at all those saguaros.
And there is a ton of them, and they are huge. I did not know a cactus could get that big. So some of these can get up to 30 to 40 feet tall, and it's really amazing.
I think what we appreciated most about this park was realizing how much life is in the desert. And it was easy for me to look at the desert and think, well, everything's just dead. But it is amazing how many things survive there and have adapted to the desert, and that in itself is mind-blowing. There are two sides to Saguaro National Park, and they are actually separated. So it is not one big park. There's two sides, east and west.
An east and a west. And our last national park that we got to visit was the Grand Canyon. And it's kind of funny that we list that one last, and we were probably the closest to that one from where we had our contracts.
We were really excited to see this one. We got to take my whole family to go see it, and it truly is unlike any other park. You just walk up on this big hole in the ground.
Yes. People joke that, you just go up there and you see a big hole in the ground, but it is a big hole in the ground.
Yeah, it is hard for your eyes to be able to understand the depth of the layers of this canyon that you're seeing. It's definitely one you can enjoy without hiking down into the canyon. There's a great rim trail that gives you views of the canyon from the top. And the disadvantage of the Grand Canyon is that if you do hike down, you have to hike up. But we got to see some really cool donkeys. You can take a donkey tour down into the canyon. And I think if we were to go back, we would plan a multi-day hike down to the river floor and get to enjoy every single aspect of the canyon.
The other national park that we did get to go through was Kings Canyon, but we didn't get enough time to actually stay there. We'd love to come back and revisit it. A lot of it was closed during the winter, a lot of the trails, because there was too much snow. We've been there, but we haven't been there.
We don't really count it.
So that is it for this recap and marks the end of Season 2. Wow. A lot of videos in Season 2, and next week you will get to join us for Season 3 and find out where we're at. But until next time, see ya.
I wish to be here. I wasn't aware that I was so